It's cool.
Okay, we are good and ready. Okay, I'd like to bring this meeting to order of the Fraser Park Public Utility District. This is the regular meeting agenda for Thursday, March 14th, 2024, with an additional teleconference location at 820 Elm Trail in Fraser Park. Okay, we're gonna start with the call to order. We're gonna start with the pledge to the flag.
Oh, you bet.
Oh, Jerry's starting to look with me. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, roll call directors. Director Garcia.
Here.
Director Nyman.
Here.
Director Gibson.
Here.
Director Kelly.
Here.
And I'm Director Schoenberg, and I'm also here. So that's item 1 and B. Item 2, discussion vote, adjust agenda if necessary. Do we have any?
Dee, do we need to go into closed session tonight?
Yeah, I think a short closed session is in order.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other adjustments to the agenda? I think we had.
Yes, I move that we remove item 20 from the agenda, that we table number 17, and that we move number 19 to after number 8.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion on that motion? Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so moved. With those adjustments. Okay, on to item 3, public comments. These are items not listed on the agenda. We limit this to about 5 minutes. Any public comments not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to item 4, report of officers, starting with the president. I don't think I have anything specific. How about the vice president?
Negative.
How about secretary?
I signed a couple meeting minutes, that's it.
Actually, I didn't say that. I
Oh.
did sign, I'm gonna go back to my president's report. I did sign some claims, 1 claim, no, 2 claims over the.
Also, just, even though I'm not in the position anymore, I did send an email out again to the state about the money that they had not taken from the USDA payment account.
On the fence, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and she responded to me, yesterday and said, oh, are these the amounts? And then I responded back to her, so we should be looking to see that it's up to date before we do our April payment. So hopefully they'll take out the money that they're owed. It's not much. It's only a total of about $600 that they didn't take in interest.
Thank you. I'm gonna go back to myself too. I realized, I don't think I said what time we started the meeting, but it was 6 p.m. Okay, how about the treasurer?
I did 2 transfers, both from the FPLOW planning, one for $300 for board fees, and the other one was for
$65 for staff recovery, and they went into the revenue operating.
And what claim number?
Claim number 37.
Okay, how about the JPIA representative?
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, anything on that before I move on to item 5? Okay, item 5, board member initiatives. Hearing none, I'm gonna move on to item 6, the manager's report, administrative, manager's report.
All right, yesterday GPIA, rep came in to do their annual site inspection and look at stuff and go over and make sure everything that we have is covered under our insurance. Went really well. I didn't have to change anything. Although shown in well 5, we did catch that the nitrate analyzer wasn't added to on that site. So I have the bookkeeping here, sent to them, so that will be added, the nitrate analyzer in case it gets damaged or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm ready to, well, that's part of the generator project, but I'm ready to submit the pricing for the generators at the beginning of next week, so that they'll be covered under the insurance too, and then I'll just add the load banks when they come in and they actually become large. So, and I'm sending Corey to 3 days of training in Palmdale on basic leadership skills. I asked him if he was interested. He said he'd absolutely do it, so that's good. Getting caught up on some of that stuff. Other than that, everything's good.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
any questions for our manager, general manager? Okay, then, item 6A, the administrative assistance report.
No extra report.
Questions? Okay, hearing none, moving on to item 7. Standing committee report, start with the accounts payable committee.
We met, we went over invoices, we asked Deborah to cut checks, and we'll talk about all of that in financials.
Okay, the state update meeting committee.
We haven't met yet. We meet next Thursday, next week.
Next week.
Okay, any questions? Otherwise, I'll move on to item 8. Okay, item 8, ad hoc committee reports, starting with the project committee,
We haven't met.
financial committee.
We've met, we're going over the budget, and we meet again 2 more times next week.
And when do we expect to have the budget complete?
We're working as fast as we can.
Okay. Because, you know, we need it.
We need it, we're hoping it'll be done, but.
It's an agenda item
too, so.
Yeah, a couple of times. Okay, generator pad construction committee.
Met with,
Johnny?
Johnny, briefly. He has gone ahead and placed the, generators at different pads. Although I have not had a walkabout and checked all the locations as of yet. Plan for that next week.
Okay,
We got
Any-
it there, yeah.
comments or questions on anything? All right, hearing none, I will move on to,
Was-
19.
Well, I did have one question.
Is it about the generator project?
Yeah.
Cause we have a.
Oh, it's on there, so we can talk.
yeah, it's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
It's on there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to item 19 as motions, which is discussion vote on the billboard lease agreement. We have, I believe, BJ here, and I don't know if Deborah's here as part of that
Yeah.
or something.
I'm here.
Hi, so do we want to, who wants to start that out?
Well,
Tell you what, let me turn it over to the, our Chamber of Commerce, and why don't you folks, start on whatever you need to bring up, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you and good evening, board members. As you may or may not know, I think I reported to you a couple of years ago, we had a theft with our solar power battery lights. And since then, there's been 2 more thefts. And then just recently, now they've stolen the solar panel off of the top of the structure. Don't know how they climbed up there or how they did it. I was kind of hoping we can come to some type of understanding that maybe we can work on this together on getting some hard fixtures put in as opposed to something that's attached to the structure. I know there is power lines going to your lots there that is close enough that we can attach these sources for power to. But I was kind of hoping maybe through grants, or I'll start looking with the county to see if they have anything available for that. But are you open to hard fixtures on the structure?
Johnny has his, hand
Yeah.
raised.
I'm sure we'd be open to the idea, but, I know that there are power lines to, near the east structure, but that's 480 volts. It would have to, but you have to be transformed down. When we looked at that in our district yard, they wanted, and this is several years ago, they wanted 10 grand for the transformer.
Whoa.
So you'd have to get the transformer to reduce it down to the usable amount, and then you have to run it from the first sign all the way to the second sign. So I think unless we got an awesome grant, I think it'd be cost prohibitive.
Understand. Another factor with that, there are some open spots in the fence where people can get through. And I know that's not a complete deterrent, but it might stop some of the ones who are tempted to walk back there.
Well, recently they just, we discovered that a gate that we have that's farther down across from, the ranch, somebody drove into that gate and ripped the chain link back about 2 feet on that, plus the whole side of the creek bed that they could just walk across, that's entirely unsecured, so I don't see how it could ever be fenced off effectively, and the fence along the side of the road is all county maintained, or it's supposed to be county maintained, but it belongs to the county. So if anybody were to fix that, it would have to be them. And then they'd still come across the creek bed.
What about putting razor wire up around?
Director Nyman?
What about maybe putting razor wire up around cause he said the solar panel was stolen.
Yeah, I thought about that. If you move the batteries all the way up to the top and put solar panels and you ran a couple strands of razor wire on the backside of the sign, it would make it a lot harder for people to climb up there, because without the razor wire, it's relatively easy for somebody to climb up the back of those signs. That's the only thing I could think of recently that might be able to deter that. And short of that, it might just have to be deemed unlightable at night.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. If the leasees would be happy with that, because we did tell them we do have it lit up partially through the night.
Yeah.
I understand it's a tricky thing. Would you guys help us out if we did some of those anti-theft devices like you're talking about?
Putting them up on top of the signs.
Yes, somewhere. Well, again, too, we do have to make it so it can be maintained.
Well, yeah, I don't think you could have it both ways. You'd have to have a box. And my personal feeling is, since the chamber is the only one that's been making any money off them signs for the whole time we've had it, relatively, that investing a bunch of money from the district, there's no way for us to recoup it. And we don't recoup the cost from the district, residents that we serve. We only would be benefiting the business owners that are advertising on it, and not the rest of the customers. That's my opinion. It's up to the board, though.
All right, well, I could definitely call the county and ask them to make the repairs for the fence, so that would be helpful for both of us. Securing your structure and then protecting our investment with those lights. Okay, so you have no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the county may be amenable to some kind of, putting in some kind of money for electric, because they're initially who, asked us to do that because of code compliance in the first place. So I think that might be, they just never, well, we never had theft issues in the beginning, but they may be willing to do something about that. I don't know. I would definitely talk to the county first.
And if they help with the electrical, that would be the biggest help, because again, even if you fix the fences along the road, that wash is like a highway during the dark hours. That's where all the people that are the undesirables travel up and down that creek bed, so they're not seen by anybody, so they just walk out of the creek bed at whatever point they want, and that's where they take their stolen stuff. And so you know, a while back, we had somebody living there, in a tent, just out of sight, and called the police on them, the cops went out there, they never left. Cops said they couldn't do anything about it, and, they just stayed there until I think the guy got sick and wound up going to the hospital. The sheriffs wouldn't help us at all.
Right, so
I would-
our plan initially was to come up with some type of lockbox that would secure the battery. I guess we need to come up with another plan for them not to, I don't know, do you think, is it possible to climb to the top of that thing? That structure and take the solar panel off? Is it climbable?
They obviously proved that they could, because they just did it. And they didn't get a boom truck in there, so they climbed it.
Yes.
Yeah. Debbie, do you have any ideas or thoughts?
No, my thought is that we do need to keep it lit for the members of the chamber that do pay for that signage. It is so dark there at night, as everyone knows, and the sooner that we can get the lighting, the better. Yes, I do think that they did climb up there to take it down, and what it do to secure it. If we can put Dennis had even mentioned putting that box up higher so they can't get to it, and whoever maintains it can use a ladder to get up there. No, I'm just concerned with getting it done, however we can do it.
I do know that if you, for the batteries anyway, you could get a welded steel box that has I mean, if you guys were around town, I could show you what I put on our C-train out here, and it's very hard to get in there to cut the lock off, so at least the batteries would be secured. But we would have to look at some type of razor wire to keep them from getting to the top where the panels are. And I think the only way they can climb it is on the backside, which is where we'd want to put the razor wire anyway.
Yes.
But that could be some liability
Have to run our
issues too.
We have to run our tank sites.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is if we did go to the county about trying to get electrical from them, maybe that's something, I don't know, the other board members would need to concur on that, but maybe that's something where we could find out who it is and invite them to a meeting that.
Well, luckily
that you would
BJ is
attend.
that guy. He's got the contacts.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe we could do that as an actual meeting so that they know that we're a part of this and in agreement and coming. So we haven't really asked them for anything for years now since we put those, signs up and since they deeded the property to us. So I think that might be a good way to approach it first and just see if they're willing.
The lots that those signs sit on, is that owned by you guys?
Yeah, they deeded the property to us.
Okay. Well, let me start doing some homework, and my first call will be to Public Works, and get their feedback and still be able to open to hopefully finding some type of grants, even if they can meet us halfway and then maybe we both can go in on it together. That would minimize our costs. If you guys
Yeah,
would.
but again,
My
Again-
caution with the grants is, yeah, it's a great idea, but it takes a long time. And I think that we've been waiting for, this morning I said about 1.5 years. So I guess that's at the front of my thought process.
Right.
As Director Allison was saying, we have no way to recoup any of that money and we're not a business on our own. All of our money comes from the people who have bought into the system and they're not necessarily benefiting any from those signs. The people that are benefiting are the businesses are who have bought into the system, but it would only really be the businesses. And I think that we would, have some wrath of the, other members of our community who pay in, if we were putting our money into that and not other items that benefit everyone equally. So I think that could be a problem because that $100 a month we collect is nothing. It wouldn't even begin to touch putting money in.
Yeah, cause it's not gonna be cheap. I think if you, BJ, if you put in a call to Edison and just get a rough estimate, then, and you can get hold of me and I'll actually give you the station code for them that feeds, cause those wires feed our well 5. I can tell you what the identifier is and then they could look it up and tell you approximately what it would cost, but I think it's gonna shock you a little bit.
If it's 10,000, we can't do that. I think
It's
we'll,
every bit 10,000 and probably more to run it to the 2 signs.
we couldn't,
have to-
the chamber, the county might be able to do that. But again, we're talking, we might just have to stay with the solar lighting with a box that's not easily accessible.
So Johnny, if we do that, go that route, is this something you want to, or need to approve? Or if you want to share what type of box that you use on your other structure? Is that all
Well,
right?
no, I'll show you the type of lock. I can even take you to Gorman and show you an enclosure, but really you just need some thick steel with a good lock on it. And I'll definitely show you the locking system that we have, and you buy them on Amazon. They're not that much. And then have a welder weld them on, and it makes it harder to cut them open.
All right, so that route is acceptable for you to add to your structure?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
All right.
just reach out to me anytime you're gonna be here and I'll show you.
Yeah, I think the board's okay with anything you guys do to secure the lighting. I mean, if you have to put up a box or, you know, to secure the batteries and everything, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm okay with you guys doing what you need to do.
Is that correct? Is there anyone on the board that has any issues with that?
Thank you very much.
All right,
So now
thank you.
Okay, so then we also have the lease agreement, in question, so that would be, our other part of this item.
Questions for us?
Well, the lease is up as of, was up as of, March 9th, I believe, this year.
Yeah.
Are there any changes from last year on the contract?
Not on our end.
I think we should do it for another year and then we can revisit it.
So I have, someone entertaining the idea of a motion to do this.
I make a motion that we approve the
Hey,
lease
I'd like
agreement
to ask
for
a
another-
question first.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Director
I,
Gibson.
I would like to know if it's possible for Chamber to let us know, how much does it cost to rent a spot on the billboard? How much for a small one and how much for a large one annually?
The small one, the 2x8 size is, off the top of my head, I think $360.
Yes.
A year?
And the 4x8 is 648, I believe.
Yes.
And that's annually?
Yes.
That is some cheap advertising.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we try to make it affordable as possible to help all the businesses survive.
Okay,
so-
well, thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome.
I
So
make,
we have a motion on the table, but not a second. Is there a second to the motion that
I
Director
didn't finish
Nyman?
my motion.
Okay,
I make a motion that we approve the lease agreement for another year and that we can revisit it in a year and discuss, you know, I mean, we haven't raised any of our costs in forever. So I think leaving it the same for another year and then we can revisit it next year.
okay, so approving it with all
As
the
is.
same wording as.
Same
is.
wording, same everything.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions before we take a roll call vote? Okay, hearing none. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so we will go ahead and renew the lease agreement for an additional year without any changes. And then we'll be, working with you to try to secure, do whatever suggestion or, help you.
Thank you.
Johnny, your general manager will be looking at that with you.
We appreciate you guys.
So that motion passes, and then I think we just need signatures, so someone will need to come in and sign that.
Yeah, I'll
with
have to
Tiffany.
change the dates and then we'll do signature.
I will come in next week, and sign the papers. So that's taken care of. And
And-
thank you for your time tonight and, trying to help us out secure, these lights against future thefts. I appreciate it very much.
I
Good
didn't,
luck.
I didn't know we had thieves in Fraser Park.
Okay, well, thank you both for attending, and we will, sign that with you next week sometime.
Very good. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to financial business.
Yep.
Okay, financial business, item 9, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information. That's Deborah Angel.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hey, Deborah.
Okay, so we prepared 36 checks out of the revenue operating for a total of $39,134.84. The extraordinary disbursements include our employee benefit premium of $8,242.63 paid to JPIA Insurance. The Visa card for $5,079.79. Southern California Edison was $7,610.48.
Okay.
And then, excuse me, we prepared three checks out of the meter well account for a total of $32,566.80. The extraordinary disbursement was on claim 24 to I think this is Bro Construction
Bro.
for $32,227.80. And that was on progress payment number 1. And then we prepared 4 checks out of the planning account for a total of $5,541 with no extraordinary disbursement. And that's all I have.
Okay, so the question that you need to ask, I guess, is on these D. Jasper and Associate one, you say they need to be reclassified? What was the,
Okay. There, out of the planning account, there was a disbursement for $1,302. I needed to, I asked if we should.
Capitalize it or not.
Thank you.
okay,
So what is it?
well, it's just,
It's on claim 37, project design.
There's the adjustments in the front probably.
it's
Which invoice is this?
$1,302.
Sorry. I think it's in the back. The Jasper meter. The 1,302.
Yeah, there's another one.
So this is well 8.
Yeah.
This is on the engineering report. Yes, that would be capitalized, correct?
Well, I mean, I'm questioning this because that's all work being done under the planning, under planning, so. Does that get capitalized?
Yes, yeah, it all gets capitalized as part of the planning, so the engineering does not go under our name. Expenses for engineering, because this is not a normal expense. Board meetings would be a normal expense, but this would be a capitalized.
Well,
expense.
it still wouldn't go under engineering, it would go, it's on a claim.
Right, so all the claims are capitalized, the claims are not generally expenses, they're part of an asset that we're working on, so usually the asset. So engineer would go as part of the asset, this asset would be well 8, if it ever happens.
So if it doesn't happen, then what happens? Then we declass it, then it's not an asset because,
Then it's not an asset, and we did talk to a little bit to Scott about that, Deborah, do you remember exactly how that works? Like it's happening on well 7, because well 7 didn't happen, so we had it as an asset and we were capitalizing it, and now well 7 is not going to exist because we were not able to, bring it to fruition. So, how are we, then it just comes
Okay.
off of our asset list, I believe. I can't remember how
I'm
that works.
not familiar with the logistics of the different projects. And I know that there was a lot of disbursement for the well replacement for 7 that was removed from capital and expensed. So that's what I'm asking for the meter well project as well as the planning project. Are these supposed to be capitalized?
Yes, because the only reason that 7 was removed is because it does not exist as an asset. 8 in theory has not been built yet, but will exist as an asset as long as we get money for it, as well as the planning, if that goes through. If it doesn't go through, then I think it'll have to be journal adjustments.
Okay. Cause
Okay.
there's several others that are kind of in the
I mean,
same.
that's my
category.
understanding is that that anything that's planning is part of is getting capitalized as an asset under planning. And the same with the meter well project, those are assets, but if for some reason something doesn't happen. And 8 is, I'm not sure, because 8's a little weird because it's getting pulled out theoretically, right, D? It's going to be its own project, but it would still be capitalized under that project unless that project doesn't happen.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my
Okay.
understanding.
Well, then, I guess all of the, transactions to be reclassified, Deborah, are gonna have to be, classified or.
They're capitalized.
I
Capitalized.
think
Okay.
you might need to do well 8 separately from the planning, because I think that's gonna end up being its own. That's my understanding.
But then, I mean, but you've got a couple like under the meter well, there's $254.8475. I think we have to look at that, that was correspondence and then I'm not sure what the 254 was. Would those be capitalized or do those get expensed?
So my understanding, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is that it's only expensed if it's a normal engineering amount. So if we're using the engineer to figure out something that's not part of a project, or if we're using the engineer for a board meeting that's not paid back as part of a project, then we're expensing, because that's a normal engineering cost to the district. So when we're coming up with the budget, that would be a normal engineering cost, but something that's part of a project is not necessarily a normal engineering cost,
So everything under the meter well would be capitalized.
Normally be capitalized, yeah.
So, cause you
But
got
where
all
is it
this
going
for
to be capitalized?
Excuse me?
Well, okay, so the
Under-
meter well would be capitalized,
It,
like the 32,227.80. That goes under the
it
meter,
has,
meter replacement project.
yeah, it has its own category, so. Under capitalization, construction in progress, we have the generator project, we have the planning project, we have the meter well, which included well 7, but well 7 has now been removed because well 7 no longer exists.
Exactly,
or
that's why
what-
I'm asking, is it going to still
That
go
would go under
to
meter
well?
well.
Meters, 7, I believe will have to be removed, but I'm not sure how Scott's gonna have us do that, because it was part of the meter well project. But because it's not an asset, I'm not sure, I think we need to talk to Scott about that, because that's no longer an asset, but everything else under meter well is an asset. And then well 8 is not under meter well 8 is not under planning even, it does, I mean, it was under planning, but I think it's gonna get pulled out as its own project, correct, Dee?
Yeah, it should be, when we get the financing and get the grant from the state, it'll be under a separate agreement.
So I think that's gonna end up under construction in progress, Deborah, as another number that doesn't currently exist. So that might have to get recategorized into a new number under here, but I don't know yet because we don't have money for it yet, so I'm not sure where that. I think right now it goes under planning, but then I don't know if we can move it from planning
Why would
to
it?
8.
I don't see why you couldn't move it over.
Well, it depends on what year
As
we
long
get.
as the audit hasn't closed, we can't move stuff once the audit, well, we can, right? We can move, like, asset to asset is not such an issue, or, balance sheet to balance sheet, it's when you're trying to move in between the two that there's a problem. Correct, Deborah?
Right, and that is correct, and these transactions are in the same fiscal period too, so perhaps at a later time, we can
Then
fine
we
tune
can create the
numbers and where these postings are gonna go.
Yeah, I think the financial ad hoc can come up with you with another category under construction in progress. I mean, I guess we should double check with Scott on that, but, or it would just go under the well 8 would still go under planning until we actually have another project.
Okay, so to clarify, all of the disbursements that were paid out of planning will go to the planning capital account number. Yes?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so then our question is whether
Go
we're
ahead.
gonna have a new number or we're gonna use an existing number for the disbursements in the meter well accounts.
No, for well 8, only for
Okay,
well 8.
for well 8, so right now, well 8 is under the planning, Deborah, and at
Okay,
some
but on my
point-
list, which amount are you talking about? Because I don't have well 8 anywhere on the report I'm looking at.
I know, so meter well is only well 7, which is now an issue, which we need to figure that out. But that's only 7 and the meters. And the reason why it said 5 is that we were also getting rid of 5, so there was some stuff with well 5 under there.
But everything,
8 is
but-
under planning
Right.
currently.
and everything that's coming out of the meter well, like the bruh, that goes under meter well
Correct.
as an asset.
So should we go through these invoices just quickly and make sure that they're correct?
Yeah, you can pull them out. Cause you got Young and Woolbridge in there too.
So. And Young Wilderness doesn't say what it's for.
The 22720.
You have to look in the invoice itself. I think it has to do with the, at the court.
No, okay, so like this legal services. Okay, invoice 109425. This was paid out of revenue operating, which is correct because it's a D Jasper consultation agreement with us. So this came out of the
Right, that one's
correct because even though it's for a project, I think
But that was our
we
having a,
don't get paid back.
we don't
for
get
this.
paid back
Yeah.
for reviewing a contract.
Okay, and then, so that's one invoice, and then the second invoice, 109428, which is Young Woldridge. That is in regard to, legal counsel. And that would be part of, well, actually, that's not currently part of the project because that expired is something that we're getting. So that would also be out of revenue operating, which you pulled it out of, which is correct, 1,980. So that would not be
And then-
capitalized because it
Right,
can't be.
and that one, isn't that the one we're keeping, she's keeping track of?
We're gonna keep track of that and hope that,
We
Well-
can get reimbursed when the project comes
well, if
about.
we do get reimbursed, then it should be capitalized.
Well, and then we capitalize it at that time. Right? I mean,
I don't know, because that's when it gets weird when we're crossing between things. But we've already paid it out of revenue operating. so-
right, well, the thing is that at some point, I mean, some of those things may not end up being capitalized. But we get reimbursed for it.
And that's,
So if it doesn't get capitalized, I don't think it's a big deal. So I think, but we have to keep track of those things.
so it looks like all of the Young Woldridge that you pulled out of revenue operating. Those are correct because they're normal expenses like the audit. Or normal expenses like looking at our consultation agreement with D Jasper. Or normal expenses in regard to looking at legal issues that we're
Now you
having.
have one more that's out of the planning account, which is 2,720.
Where's that?
Another
That's
Young
one.
Woolbridge.
Young and.
Okay, so the 2,700,
I think, cause that was, part of the planning, planning because it was prior to
a certain date,
a certain date.
right, so that one is capitalized. So invoice 106558 is part of the planning project.
So I said, I think all the ones that she's got to be reclassified, they're all going to be capitalized. So when you come back in, you'll just have to put them in their places, and if you don't know where that is, Lisa or I can come in and maybe help figure that out. Although we'll be here Monday anyway.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can
Yes.
just do that on Monday because, like well 8, I think we have to come up with a new number for.
Okay,
So I make a motion that we pay our bills.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
and Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that motion passes 500. And we will move on. So I think that's everything under discussion vote on accounts payable financial, correct?
You had, but number 10, you had the district budget, so that's, you need to carry that over to the next,
Right,
our
so
next
we-
meeting so that we can approve it hopefully on the next, which is in 2 weeks. And
hopefully.
Like I said, we're working, but
So what we can do is at least read our numbers to you, I think, at the next meeting and see if we're ready to approve it.
I mean, I think we need to get it going because.
I get it.
I mean, the sooner we get this in.
It's
we're-
been
we're-
going.
I know.
We're here,
Well,
doing it.
It's, but
like I said, we've been having some issues and we're trying to work through those issues.
right, and I understand that, and I'm not giving it a hard time, I'm just saying my concerns because.
Yes,
With, because
I
the
know.
longer we wait, there's a possibility of us not
No-
getting
no
our
funding.
10 million,
No,
and then we're gonna be screwed.
I know, but your concerns aren't gonna get us to be able to do it any more quickly. So,
Okay,
we're meeting twice next week
okay,
and we met twice last week.
okay.
We're trying. Okay, so, anything else? So are we done, Deborah? Is there anything else for Deborah?
Nope, I think that's it. Feel better, Deborah.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Deborah.
Have a good
Bye.
evening. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Get better by Monday.
Okay, and
Try.
so we also, have a good night. So we also discussed item 10, and that's gonna carry over to our next agenda.
Is there anything else we need to let them know about the budget? I mean, that's where we'd have to talk about it.
Can't think right now,
I know the one thing that we were talking about is the bad debt that we need to figure out. what we're
yeah,
doing.
we're handling things different from what our auditors asked us to do a few years back. So that's something that we need to look at, but that doesn't necessarily affect it affects the budget a little, but the numbers are not huge. And then there was some questions about and that also affects the Kern County taxes, because that's now, some of the money we used to collect, we're not able to collect anymore. And so that just changes stuff, but Tiffany said it's a pretty negligible amount and it's under like $1,000. So
What, the bad debt? Oh,
the money that we can no longer collect.
oh, okay.
Bad debt was including both things, but now we're thinking maybe it won't include the Kern County stuff that we put on the.
Well,
on the
we
tax
need to know
rolls.
about the bad debt though.
Right, but right now we're not doing that, so we don't have a actual mechanism to go from RBS to the bookkeeping. So it's not that we aren't adjusting it, we're adjusting it in RBS, but that's not, I don't know how many years ago, our auditors asked us to pull it out separately. But to do that, it needs to go from RBS, we need to not adjust it in RBS, and it goes in a different way, and we're not doing that. So
Now,
we
is
need
the-
to
is the
decide
bad-
as
is the
a
bad-
board.
Is the bad debt recovered at any point?
So bad debt used to be recovered. Primarily because we would put it into Kern County, but because we didn't know when or if we'd even be recovering it on the same audit year. We just put it in as bad debt and wrote it off. It appears that we've really recovered almost all of that, but now there's a new wrinkle because now there's bad debt that we're never gonna recover. It's money that we cannot, unless it goes in the escrow account, and sometimes there's some issues with that. There's no way to recoup that money. That money is probably under $1,000, you're saying, maybe, but we don't know for sure, so I Yeah. think we need a mechanism. What happened is Scott sent Deborah his sort of cheat sheet that he had sent Linda Sheldon, so that she didn't no one told her
Right,
that procedure existed,
right.
and so it hasn't been happening for the last 3 years, 4 years. It's been happening in RBS, but it hasn't been happening as far as bad debt and our bookkeeper is concerned. So there just isn't, it's not that it wasn't happening the same way. We were reversing it from the money we took in. It was say, oh, we lost $1,000 or oh, we lost 2,000. So we're gonna talk to Scott and see if we can figure out some way. I mean, he's sending Deborah his information,
Okay,
so there's just little weird things like that on the budget, and and we couldn't figure out why we seem to have less money coming in for residential water when, we think it should be the same. And we actually raised our rates and there's actually less coming in, so that's
Yeah,
still a
by-
little bit
by
of a
lots.
mystery by $120,000.
$120,000.
So we're still trying to figure that out, but, that's,
Oh, that's a big issue.
yeah. We're not
And
sure.
Donnie's been saying that he feels that everyone's still using around the same amount of water. I mean,
We're catching people with, meters that don't work. A lot of times you can't tell if somebody lives there or not. Catching as many of those and replacing those meters as fast as we can, but it would take an awful lot of water to lose that much. It's $2.36 per 750 gallons. That's a lot of water lost.
This is weird, because the business is
it's
flat
right,
across, so
right.
it looks normal.
normal.
It's just residential. And we thought maybe it was because people were using less water, people were, but
Well, we keep, getting really high, water loss every month like we always have, but that's never been explainable, but maybe there is more water loss and when we get the pipeline replacement in,
Well,
discover
maybe
what some of
somebody's
that was.
stealing water. I
Well,
mean,
but it's
Yeah,
not,
but you realize how much that is? $100,000 worth of water?
I know, but I've heard that there's weed, houses, grow houses up in Fraser Park and that there's several of them.
They're all over the place, but we catch that stuff.
yeah, but that's still, we're not talking about water loss. We're talking about water revenue. For
Right,
some reason, I mean, people aren't, I can't imagine that people are not using that much less water.
Or stealing it, $100,000 worth of just the water charges. That would be an astronomical amount of theft, like we've never seen before.
I mean, because we've always had water loss. And so that's.
the
a whole-
water loss is a completely separate category. This is what we're billing,
Yes, and not
and
getting.
we're billing less than we've ever
Right,
been,
Bill. Yes,
or than we billed for a while. And that's not counting the money that's coming off, that's money that we're having to send on the books to Kern County so that they can collect what we're not making from our customers. So it's not even that, this is just the actual billing, and it's quite a bit different, so. And
is there something wrong in the system, maybe? Maybe the wrong amount, and we're billing the wrong amount?
I don't think so.
We've been trying to
So,
figure it out.
so we're gonna probably just budget less money coming in because we don't know what's causing it, but that's.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we should just budget it, but we still need to figure out, we need to find out what's
I'm
going
hoping
on.
some of the things like the smart meter replacement project.
Will help.
They're gonna be all brand new meters, so we'll be able to accurately measure the usage at the houses, so that's gonna help us. The pipeline replacement, that's gonna help us when we have some of our worst pipes replaced for water loss, but the smart meters will help us with that undercharging, because they're not gonna be old. We still have meters in the ground right now that have been there since they first put meters in. Not a whole lot, but there are still some, and,
And as those meters fail, that would make sense, because if there were failing meters, then we wouldn't be billing. And then if we're not billing, we'd be making less money on our residential,
yeah, so we'll definitely have to dig into
because
it.
we have way more residential accounts than business is pretty
Right.
flat. So.
Like I said, we're just looking and trying to figure.
So that's another little thing, but everything else is pretty, it is good that we've broken up some things, because I think it's much easier for us to see some of the things like road leaks and stuff like that, because those are broken up.
Okay.
So, okay, moving on, unless there's any other questions on that, we'll have more information for you. I think we'll just try to run down the numbers at the next meeting, and hopefully we'll have numbers, but we may still have to adjust stuff, but we'll have some numbers for everybody. Okay, so, there's nothing else. I'm gonna move on to our closed session. I'm gonna give an oral announcement prior to the closed session. Per Government Code 54957.7A, a representative of the legislative body to orally announce the items to be discussed in closed session prior to any closed session meeting. So it would be item 11, closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9D1 Fraser Park Public Utility District versus CNC Elite Properties LLC et al. That's Kern County Superior Court, case number BCV 24-1000199. And also item 12, closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957. Conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8. Property in question, parcel 256-070-54 and 256-070-55. Agency negotiators, Lisa Schoenberg, Berman Nyman, and D. Jasper. The negotiating parties are Jeff French and Emily Wainwright. Under negotiation, price and terms of payment. So those are our closed sessions. I think I'm gonna entertain our, one of our directors recusing himself. Is that, yes? Okay, so, Director Garcia is going to recuse himself from this session. And we will, get you as soon as we are done. And hopefully this is a very short, we're just, getting some updates. So we're going to go into this closed session at 6:55 PM. And we hopefully will be out soon. Just let me know when we're back in completely.
I'm gonna wait for Becky.
We're in, we just don't have Becky J.
So we're just waiting on two directors.
Hopefully Becky realizes she has to come back.
It'll automatically do it.
No, it doesn't.
There she is.
It brings it up and you have to click on
She's on her phone. Not the.
Okay, so,
computer.
our directors are back, so we're gonna come out of closed session. The time is 7:11. And, there was no action taken during the closed session. Informational only. And we're moving on to item 13. Item 13 is discussion vote update on Fraser Park Lake of the Wood Consolidation Planning Project. 13A is discussion vote on the project amendment.
As far as I know, that's still in Lawrence's bailiwick. And so,
No, we haven't.
We have it.
oh, we do?
Yeah, it's the extension.
What is that, Tiffany?
It's the project extension, so it's
Yeah.
extending it to December 24, and we have that amendment.
Oh, we do. Okay.
So it says, dated February 27th, 2024, agreement number D1802015. Please review and if appropriate, electronically sign the signature page of the amendment via Adobe Sign. Once electronically signed, the agreement will be routed automatically to the next signer, blah, blah, blah. This agreement cannot be considered binding by either party until executed by the State Water Resources Control Board.
Could I
So
have
this is the revised authorized resolution. And, basically it just has the other dates, I believe, that were given to us.
So
And-
it's extended to December 2024.
I'd sure like a copy of that. I didn't see it come through my email. Maybe it did and I missed it.
The funding amount is the same, $1,014,892. The eligible work date, same, 2016. The work completion date, June 30th, 2025. The final disbursement requestment date, December 31st, 2025. And the records retention end date, June 30th, 2061. Hereby amended as of August 8th, 2023. And I don't think anything else is different in it, although I did not go through this line by line.
Well, there's nothing.
I do believe they changed they put me as president, so that's been altered.
Yeah,
So-
some of the costs have been altered, I don't know. Exhibit B.
The pages are altered,
When do we have to sign this?
tonight if we approve it.
But weren't you asking for more money, Dee?
Yes, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
money has
we-
not been approved, so I think this has to be approved first, was the understanding, the dates.
Yeah, I think so. Although I don't know for sure. Well, we need to discuss that with Lawrence on Thursday too, but we did you know, we are requesting more money in the budget. And I did send, the schedule in to him that shows our, December completion date. So he's got, all that basic information. The PER, right here, got a couple of maps to attach to it, and then that'll go out. You know, I keep telling you guys, you know, it's gonna go out next couple of days, but probably be middle of the week. We just gotta get the maps attached to it. And
This
we're,
is still wrong, some of it, but that's because he wanted these dates approved first, right? Before we change anything else, like the estimated due date on the deliverables. It has, you know, the MOU December 2024, and we were pushing that forward, but he wanted us to approve this first, I believe. And it has March 2024 for the, LAFCO.
Dee, I just sent you the amendment.
oh, thank you, Tiffany.
Then it has the CEQA December 2024, biologicals December 2024. Draft, PNS July 2024. Final December 2024, and construction application February 2025. So we had said that we still felt like some of these dates were wrong, but me remembering what the conversation was that Lawrence wanted this approved first, and then we would negotiate further.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, we need to be moving ahead. You know, we do have money in there for design. And, you know, it's not all, we need more, obviously, but we do have enough if Lawrence were to approve us moving ahead to start the alignment surveys and, you know, get things moving ahead. Because, you know, we got to move ahead.
Right.
So I think I'm supposed to sign this, but we would need to entertain a motion to. approve
I
it.
entertain a motion that we, approve amendment 2 of the Fraser Park Lake of the Woods Regional Consolidation Planning Project. Project number 1510007-001P. CalSTARS agreement number D18-02015. Fiscal agreement number SWRCB D18020015. Project funding amount $1 million, 14,892. Eligible work start date July 1st, 2016. Work completion date changed to June 30th, 2025. Final disbursement request date December 31st, 2025. Records retention end date June 30th, 2016.
Do we want that with the understanding that there will be further negotiation
With,
down the line?
with the understanding that, we will be requesting for more, for more monies and further negotiation for more monies
On
for,
the dates.
on the dates and in the costs.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motioner and a second. Are there any questions before we do a roll call vote? Okay, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Hi.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
and Director Schoenberg is an aye, and so that motion passes 5-0-0. So I'll sign this D and then we'll go from there.
Did we need to do the,
That's the
President?
next. That's the next
next item, okay.
Okay, so nothing further on that. We're gonna move on to item 13B, discussion about update on the budget and adjustment request.
I don't think we've gotten anything on that.
Nothing new. Again, it's submitted and resubmitted. And, you know, it's in, Lawrence's hands now.
So basically, we'll talk to Lawrence on Thursday saying, we've approved this amendment. We've given you all the budget information and can we get, and we'll ask again for the approval of the letter to move those items that we needed to move. So that we can get you paid. Yes?
Yes. Yeah, I like the paper part.
Okay, so should we move on to item 13C?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, discussion vote on resolution FP 2024-0314-1, authorizing resolution.
So this is the resolution that we just approved. This is for the amendment. Correct?
No.
No, what does this
No,
do? What is this for?
We have to redo the authorizing resolution because in the one we originally did way back 2016, it didn't include the words, it didn't include, let's see, authorized representative. Okay. So the second big paragraph, this authorized representative, his or her designee, is designated to provide the assurances, certifications, and commitments required for the financial assistance application, including executing a financial assistance agreement from the State Water Resources Control Board. It missed the words "and any amendments." So because it didn't have the authorization for the amendments, we couldn't sign the
And we
amendment.
still can't sign the amendment until we authorize this.
They said
resolution.
submit them together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion, that we approve before the Board of Directors of the Fraser Park Public Utility District, resolution number FP 2024-0314-01 in the matter of authorizing resolution, changing and adding, the line of, any amendments
Changes.
or changes thereto, to the resolution.
So motion is introduced by Director Nyman. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so there's motion and seconded. Any questions before we take a roll call vote? Okay, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye, so that's 5-0-0. No no's, no abstentions, no absence. All right, moving on. So those will be submitted together. Item 13D, discussion about update on the standby fee assessment and funding. This is for Carlos. Or Oscar.
Still waiting to hear back on approval.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Hopefully this year.
any questions before we move on to 13E? Discussion vote on the project technical memo.
Well, it's right here and, should be done middle of the week. Again, got a couple of maps I got to put on this thing.
Okay. Any questions for D?
Nope.
13F, discussion vote on the acquisition and development of well number 8 property. So we did discuss that somewhat in closed session, but, I know that basically we're going to talk to, Lawrence about funding. So, and that'll happen at the state update meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on to 13G, discussion vote on the acquisition development of well 9, same thing, we discussed it somewhat in closed session. And we are still, waiting for development of a map of a further map of the property of the 100-year flood.
Mhm.
So, and that's, being done by Jeff French. Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, 13H, discussion vote on district sphere of influence that's tabled and submitted at LAFCO, so we're gonna move past that for the moment. 13I, discussion vote on municipal service, on project municipal service review, MSR. Where are we at on the,
I talked with Ravish a couple days ago, and he said he was targeting to have it done by the end of the day today, but I saw a communication go to Tiffany. He was requesting, I think, some of the latest rates for some reason. And Tiffany, maybe you could weigh in on that, but he said it's done except for that.
When would he have sent that email? I haven't seen anything from Ravish in a very long time.
Oh, no
Few
kidding.
weeks.
I'll have to look, Tiffany. Let me. I saw that. Let me see here.
I remember him. Yeah,
I believe we said
Yeah,
that,
he asked-
Dee, a while back.
that was.
Let me see when
Last
that
time
came,
gathering was up this year, last year.
probably.
Well,
You know
we
what?
didn't know that.
I might have been looking at an old email there. The last communication that I had was, it was an email. It was a current email, today. And he said, it's done. And, he said he needs to do one final review. And
Oh, so he probably doesn't need any more
I
information from
guess not.
Tiffany. He's,
I probably picked up an old email, somehow didn't look to date. So, yeah, it's,
and aren't we supposed to be doing a final review of it too?
yes, he wants to review it, make sure he's made all the corrections, I'm sure, and then send it out. And then it'll go to you guys and it'll go to, Lake of the Woods.
Okay. So any other questions on that? So we're just waiting for the final draft, and then we look at it one more time, and then we should be able to submit that, correct?
Yep,
Everything's good.
yep.
Okay, and then there were just some minimal changes on it that we're waiting to make sure happened. Okay, so any other questions on that before I move on to 13J? Actually, 13J is tabled because we're waiting on the MOU for further into the project. So 13K is discussion vote on Lake of the Woods projects and consolidation. Any new news, Pam or Joan?
All right, guys, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so pressure testing is happening right now as we speak. And then soon we'll be bringing on sections, in our subdivision over the next few weeks. Obviously, we're delayed because of some weather, and so it's looking like the end of March, beginning of April before we're finished. And then permanent paving will be dependent on weather, same as always. Nothing new on the generator project. On our $5 million grant, PMP still hoping to have the draft report and the preliminary designs out any day. And we're still working with the forestry. Well, number 4 is still offline, and we're still collecting data on that. That was a fun one to do in our CCNRs. Blending station, our nitrates are between 4.2 and 6.5 for the month of February. What's interesting or weird is that the 6.5 was the middle sample. So we've gotten 3 samples back for February. The first week was 4.2, then it was 6.5, then it was 4.2. So it's a little bit of an anomaly. Like I explained last time, this, anywhere between now and April is where we're starting to see the rise of them. Wells have dropped 1.5 to 4 feet, depending on the well, but they're still up from January of last year, 15.5 to 28.5. So
Wow.
that's it. Anything else that you guys have questions about?
I have a question, Pam.
Sure.
Just a point of clarification. When we designed that blending station, as I recall, it was to take well 4, well
No, 1, 2, and 7 together.
1, 2, and 7.
Yeah.
1,
7 is the high one. 2 is the one with high fluoride.
all right, 1, 2, and 7. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure, right?
Yeah. And then when you guys set it up though, we had it so that well number 7 would kick off when the nitrates got high, and then we modified it, but then we've taken it back. So it's still back to 7 going off right now, and 1 and 2 can continue. But we do have the capability of going back and forth on all of that. You know, we've talked about that, and we put in the the VFD for well number 1.
Yeah. Okay, that's
right.
good.
And then I also got a memo tonight that Lawrence is going to do his walkthrough on the 21st for our walkthrough. So he may or may not be on the state meeting. He'll be on part of it.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, he said he's going to be doing it on the drive out.
So
We'll just go up there.
yeah.
Yeah, right. He's going to be in Lake of the Woods, and Krista, I'm sure he's trying to see everyone's project. So I'm sure you might have an email because he has like 5 up on the hill, right? He's working with every single one of us.
Yep.
So that's it, guys. Give him a hug for me.
I feel a little funny doing that.
I know. You can just tell him. All right. Hugs to you all.
Any other questions for Lake of the Woods? Nope. Okay, and 13, L. We don't have discussion vote on claims and payouts yet because that's next week. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
I got a quick question for D as far as when he made that budget request for Lawrence. I just wanted to make sure that you took into consideration, D, that we still owed you about $15,000 when you asked for that 47,000.
Oh, so yeah, there's money in that account. Is that what you're telling me, Carlos?
Well, no, you know how we haven't been submitting some of your invoices for
Yeah.
consolidation engineering.
No money in the account, D.
I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you adjusted for that, right? For what we owed you still?
I sure hope so.
Okay, because
I
you
got
put
one.
in like 40, I think like 47,000 or something like that. Okay.
Yeah. And
And I think we were initially only asking for to move in like 35. So yeah, I think that works. I just wanted to make sure that you adjusted for that.
well, I hope we did, but we'll make it work regardless.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, nothing else. I'm gonna move on to item 14, discussion about update on FPPUD meter replacement projects and emergency well supply projects. 14A, discussion about update on well 7. Where are we at on finalizing that?
No,
Well, what?
we need help.
Well 7, where are we at?
Abandoning.
Waiting on Lawrence,
Go
The
ahead.
abandonment.
Yep.
abandonment.
Yep, that's it.
I'm having abandonment issues.
So is that well, and it doesn't want to be abandoned.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting on approval of abandoning, the money to abandon.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abandon and fence.
All right, moving on to B. Are there any questions on that?
Nope.
Nothing's happening. Okay, moving on to B, discussion vote update on meter replacement. That we did have some movement on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just give a brief update. Johnny has a little bit of information on the meters themselves, but we have a pre-construction meeting on March 20th there at the district, and we're gonna go through the schedule with Bruff and you know, get the details on how we proceed from here. Hopefully, we have not heard that the brass has been received yet, but we do know that the meters are someplace available, I think probably with, well, I'm, Johnny, you tell me where those are stored right now. I think it's Ferguson, but
Initially, I got the impression that they're in Ferguson and Bakersfield,
yeah,
but it turns out that they're not there yet. Brian from Ferguson had called me and said that there is roughly 1,200, he calls them, registers, I think, or no, anyway, whatever the term is, the meters. And he wanted to know, apparently they called Bruff. Bruff said that, he wouldn't take possession of them right now. So Brian asked if we would consider, storing them here. So I reached out to Curtis and Dee. Curtis recommended that we could entertain that thought, but he would, before we ever agreed to that, it would be signed and agreed upon with Ruff that if we store them here in our alarmed yard, that they're still responsible for them until he gets them installed.
Hmm.
I get the impression from Curtis that they probably will not want to do that, that he'll find a place to put them. But that means they're coming pretty soon, because Ryan just wanted to make sure that they would be received somewhere when they came into town.
But we said the check, I mean, we,
Well, this isn't, no, we
Those
didn't
are
have
the
to
other
pay,
ones.
we haven't, that was other.
Those are the other ones. That
We
was
haven't paid.
that very small amount. 1,200 meters is what we've been waiting for. So when they roll in, then we'll be really happy with that. So that's an update I got. Curtis really wants to,
And Dee, how much is that 1,200 meters costing us? Cause I know they're gonna want payment.
I'd have to look. I don't remember, but Curtis and I talked about it too today, and you know, those liability things can get really sticky. And, you know, say we store them and something happens, a guy breaks in, it doesn't matter, he destroys some. And then we get in an argument with Bruff, well, you didn't do an adequate job and you should have done something else to protect them and all of that. And, you know, and my recommendation is that, number one, they are Bruff's, they're not ours. We don't get ownership of those until that project is final, period. Then it becomes ours. They're his.
Right.
And you know, I just hesitate taking any responsibility for protecting any of that stuff that he owns.
So I totally agree with you, Dee.
well, one of the comments from Ryan was he just wanted to make sure that, if for some reason Bruff wasn't ready, that we didn't get bumped back down the line, because there's plenty of people waiting for those meters right now. So maybe you were Curtis to reach out to Bruff and find out what the deal is with that and make sure that they're gonna receive them as soon as they come in from Ferguson.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely check it out, Johnny, and maybe even talk with Ryan, see what's really going on there. Were you gonna go down and take a look at how big the stack is?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's when, I had the impression it was already there at Ferguson, but it's not. It's still gonna be shipped. So it's not there right now, but Ryan had told me it would be, he said it would be 4 pallets about 5 feet high.
Well, so you can, and there's no way to check them.
That seems like an well,
It does
counting
to
them
me
at that.
too.
In the box, there's a manufacturer defect, then Ferguson has to stand behind them. But
Yeah.
again, that's won't be our problem until the project's done. That will be Ruff's problem.
Yep, absolutely. But it's good that they're ready to go. This is really, once we get the brass, then he's ready to,
Did ask, sorry.
go ahead, Johnny,
I
sorry.
did ask Brian when you were gonna be shipped for sure, and, he has not responded yet, so when I hear from that, or when you reach out to Ryan and Bruff, then, you can let me know.
Okay.
The big concern is just how we're paying for it.
Well, I thought that's what the bridge loan was for.
Well, it's probably gonna be
Yeah,
more
but
than
it's
the
gonna be
bridge
more
loan.
than the bridge loan. I mean,
We just used the bridge
I
loan.
guess we worry about that when they actually get here.
we have like 470,000 left or 468,000,
700 or something.
and it might be around $700,000.
Okay, well, again, I guess we'll have to worry about that when it gets here. Who knows when he's gonna send the invoice?
Yeah, they took a while to send this first.
Yeah, and it's still another month.
Right. But I'm just saying, they'll probably do it quickly because they're gonna wanna get paid, because they're gonna wanna outlay their money. They don't want their money outlaid for a long period of
Well,
time.
like Lisa said, the last one, they received them and then it still took a while to invoice it. So apparently they're not sitting.
Yeah, cause we just wrote that
Just
check
waiting.
today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a big difference when you're looking at 30,000 as opposed to $700,000. Then somebody's gonna get up off their butt and do an invoice.
Is it fully 700,000 or is that also,
I can't remember.
that's probably also the program, which is expensive, the antennas, the repeaters, which are gonna be expensive, all that.
I don't know what the exact cost of
Yeah.
the beaters are. That's why I was asking.
Anyway, yeah, well,
Do you have that figure, D?
I don't, but I'll get it.
Okay. So any other questions before we move on to, C? Okay, so 14C, we don't really have claims and payouts. Again, that starts next week with the state update meeting. Unless there's anything we need to know from from Oscar. Hearing nothing, I'm gonna move on to 14D, discussion vote update on the bridge loan requests and payments. We did.
We did do a bridge loan for 32,000, whatever that check was for Bruff.
$32,227.80.
What's the limit on bridge loan?
500.
500,000, so we did that bridge loan.
So the commotion was the first shot, the third shot.
Joan, you have, can you mute, please?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question as soon as you guys took a break.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to jump back, I'm sorry, to the previous item discussion. Johnny, do you know off the top of your head what your nitrate levels are coming in at? And
yeah, I know. Pretty much
approximately?
Yeah, they've been coming in, the last week at around 8.7, but we have hit just over 9.2 and 9.3 a couple times last month. So.
Okay. And I'm
Still
sorry,
on
I'm
the
going
line.
on memory. You don't have the ability to do a static level on well 5, but you do have the ability on well 6?
That's correct. We measure well 6 all the time. The last one I got for well 5 is when Edison Pump Efficiency came out and they measured our levels then. Let's see.
So then I would just be interested, is well 6 holding, going up, going down? What are you seeing on your well 6?
Well, it's gonna keep going up a little bit, but like I stated before, we still got to confirm. We always sounded it before with a wired sounder, and then that broke, so we started using our sonic sounder, which we feel is accurate, but it could be off by a couple feet or 3 feet, but it definitely looks like we're coming up.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome, Joan. Okay, so, hearing nothing else on 14, we're gonna move on to item 15.
Good night, Oscar.
And, yeah, Oscar is able to, go home, so to speak. Cause you're virtual, so you're already at home probably, but,
You have one
thank you, Oscar.
What is the closeout cost that you guys are looking at right now for the the well project? What's still owed? What are those?
It was 100 something, but I don't remember exactly.
Are you talking about for 7?
Yeah.
Well, it was like 100. I know that there was maybe 130,000 plus we still had to pay for the
Fence.
the fence and
Cap.
And Cap, what, do you know, Dee?
I'm looking right now to see if I can find it. Heat system replacement. Um, No. Hmm.
Cause I knew 28,000 was gonna come out of our pocket, because some of the stuff we had to pay for,
The stuff on retaining.
that we're retaining.
Those, have you ever seen or heard, of the state expediting the claims? I'm just thinking ahead, just because they have the 700,000 plus that they're gonna need as well for the meters potentially.
Yeah, we're aware of that, so, I mean, we're gonna have to figure it out, what we're gonna have to do.
Well, that's what we're saying, we need to ask the state if they can do an expedited payment, because it is so much.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will, before we deplete every last penny we got in our accounts, we should see if the state will pay quickly.
Just a thought.
And another thing to think about as far as claims goes, it's the end of their fiscal year, so we have to get claims in before the 29th of this month so they can get processed and get paid in a timely manner.
Yeah, I'm getting there, I think.
Which is gonna be a big problem once again for the meters. Cause then we have to wait, right? We can't put any claims in for,
Well, that's why we'll use up the bridge loan, and then we might have to take some money out of the long-term asset account.
Isn't it a possibility that like other contractors that we've worked with that understand that the state is slow paying, that maybe they would let us pay the maximum of our bridge loan and then hold off on the rest until we get reimbursed through the claim?
possibly.
I mean, it's something to talk to them about. I mean, they're making good money off of this, and
Right.
he works with the state all the time, so maybe that's.
And they're not actually doing work yet.
Yeah.
Because it's just receiving the meters right now. It's not the actual work, so yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk about it.
Did you find the numbers, Steve?
Please look in.
Yeah, it's, this is from Unified. We're talking about finishing up well 7, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. About 52,000, 51,985 is what I'm finding. And that was,
But there was another progress payment that
Of
we,
100 something.
of like 113,000 that we never paid. And I know that, like Lawrence had said,
yeah,
like 28,000 of it or something like that was taken out of that. That we would have to pay for because we would take possession of whatever those items were.
okay, yeah, that was 113,050. And I don't have, I don't have, I don't,
It's distracting a little bit.
you have it, Johnny?
No, I do not.
Yeah. I'm not having, look, I'll get it. I'll make a note. And,
Yeah, so basically, Carlos, it's 113, probably minus around 28,000, and then 54,000, another 54,000, which includes the fence,
How
so.
much is retention? Because we hold the retention.
Oh, and then there's the retention, whatever the retention was.
right, 75%.
Did we still hold on to that for how long? A year?
No, until
No,
we
we-
sign them.
Until it's actually completed.
Yeah,
It's due once the notice of completion is filed and been with the recorder, and I think it's 35 days, and then it's due.
Yeah, so whatever the retention is on top of that.
Pretty close to 200,000 then. It's gonna be around.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Dean could get you that figure and send it to you.
yeah.
Alright,
And you can copy us, because we'll be talking probably about it more on Thursday, so.
Next Thursday. Okay, so if it's okay with everyone, I'm gonna move on.
See,
All right, moving on to item 15. This is discussion vote on the, unless you have anything else, Oscar, we're good, I think. So item 15, discussion vote on pipeline replacement projects. 15A, which is the potholing and mapping, is completed, but we still just have that on the agenda. 15B, the engineering and design, which is very far along as well, but where are we at on that, B?
well, engineering, the preliminary engineering has all been done. It's 95% complete. And so that's been submitted. And then I think what we're waiting for, and Carlos, I think that's, you can update us. I think there was a TMF document that had to be submitted and some other things that I think you took care of. And so we're waiting for the state. Correct.
I'm sure that came from the attorney.
Carlos? There we go.
Yeah, we're still waiting on a few documents. We still need the engineering contract.
Well, wait, you guys just moved on without me? We were on B. So are we moving on to C, engineering contract?
The engineering and design.
Well, cause Dee was saying that we needed a few stuff for the application, so.
Right, that's for the project application. We're not there yet. Correct, Dee? Where?
Okay, well, then continue.
So basically, your answer for B is that we're still at the same place, about 95% completed.
Yeah, those have been submitted.
Okay, so 15C is the engineering contract. And
Yeah.
that, we sent it to our attorney, and that is, for discussion this evening.
And you got a copy of that deed?
No,
Huh?
no, I don't.
Hmm.
Can you send him a copy of that?
So there are a few strike throughs, the, recommendations.
Yeah,
Those are
I really need to look.
Well, yeah, but that's from the attorney.
no.
Yeah, I need to,
Where's the attorney changes? If any.
Well,
yeah, I made the changes, the strike through, I think, Rama. And that's what was sent to the attorney. And then he was,
the ones with the red?
I don't, yeah, I think so. That's what I put those strike throughs in.
Our attorney did.
So, yeah, other than receiving something from Young Wooldridge, and that would come to you, and then it would need to be transmitted to me as well. But by you,
Alan has a note on here, D, where it says, wait a reasonable time before what, and asserting breach of contract with a question mark. So I'm not sure where those go on which number, but
be best for me to review it.
But then I'm wondering if that is actually part of this thing. I mean, it just seems so funny where it's at.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Just-
submitted it
it
to,
just sent it, Tiffany, this note from Alan Dowd, is that part of the questions he had after his review? Wait a reasonable time before what, an asserting breach of contract?
21, I believe. 20.
Oh, yeah, within.
Yeah.
a reasonable time.
Yeah, so it's item 21, all fees and other charges will be billed monthly and shall be due within 60 days of the time of billing unless otherwise specified in this agreement. Consultant recognizes that client depends on receipt of monies from state in order to pay consultant and will wait a reasonable time for the state payment to be made to client. And so Alan said, wait a reasonable time before what?
Asserting breach of contract. That's what his question was. So that's what he means. Wait a reasonable time before what? Asserting breach of contract? That's what he's asking.
No, I think it's wait a reasonable time to pay. Well,
No, look what he's saying.
yeah, I
Wait a
know,
re-
I see what he's saying.
He
but-
says before what? Asserting breach of contract? He's added the question mark.
But 21 isn't talking about
Well,
breach of contract, it's talking about when it's paid.
yeah, but he's saying, are you considering a breach of contract or reasonable time for what? In other words, you're wait a reasonable time for state payment to be made to client to assert breach of contract. That's what he's asking. It's clear to me.
So he wants to know, D, if, what is that reasonable time before what? Before you say it's a breach of contract because we haven't paid, or? That's what Alan appears to be asking.
Yeah,
He's asking, wait a reasonable time before what? Asserting breach of contract.
that
On
would,
item 21.
that would be my question as well. And so really need to, have that discussion with Alan. What's he talking about? Delay caused by,
And then he had no other comments? I mean,
you would
this
think,
is,
you would think there would be more.
That was his only comment in the document. He made tiny little corrections, like page 1, the redlining on B and C. I believe was Alan, you guys didn't do that.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not sure what is all the redlining, Alan? No, some of the redlining is us and some of
Yes,
it's
he-
Alan, so
Mhm.
how do we know what's Alan and what's us?
That's how he marked it. That's how the attorney sent it back, so.
Sure.
well, obviously, if we, the redlining is in there, then he's okay with it. That's his redlining, even with ours. Because number 20 basically goes away, number 23 goes away.
Which we had asked for 20 to go away.
Yeah, so he's okay
And
with that.
23 to go away.
Obviously, he's okay with that going away. So the only thing we gotta get is that 21, this question for that. Cause then you go on to, on 25, he got rid of terms of any labor agreements or
Yeah, and
so
we,
due to the rise in the cost of living.
yeah, and 21's fine. I think that red lettering and strike through is stuff that I put in there based on your request to make some changes that were.
So, okay.
It looks pretty good to me.
Okay, so I make a motion that we
Well,
approve.
wait. So you're not gonna include what he's
Yes,
asking
yeah.
to include?
Well, will you let me make my motion?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the changes to D. Jasper Associates Consulting Civil Engineer contract that are shown in red. And that we get from Alan, if he needs to add in breach of contract or any other wording into 21. And that we approve, upon doing that, it is considered approved. And we can sign the contract.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think provisional like that, so we can make sure we understand what Alan is talking.
So motion on the floor?
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, are there any other questions on that motion? Okay, we'll call directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
And Director Schoenberg is an aye. So how will we know when you're gonna reach out to Alan one more time and make sure?
I'll do that tomorrow.
Or do you want to, or you want?
No, you do it, Tiffany. That would probably, it'd be more appropriate.
Okay,
And
Okay, and then I have permission to sign it as long as Alan is fine with the wording in 21.
right.
Exactly.
Okay, so that motion.
With all
passes
the changes that were in red.
0-0
Yeah.
with the changes in red holding. Okay, so that's our consultant agreement. And so going on, so that's one of the items we need for the, so we're on
Project application.
15D, the project application. That was one of the items we were waiting on. And then we're also waiting on the budget still. I know, but what else are we waiting on now, Carlos?
We're waiting on the NOE from State Clearinghouse once that clears. And we're waiting on TMF package. I have to get with Tiffany to, we're gonna have to update some of the documents that we submitted in the previous TMF package.
Yeah, that,
Carlos, I have a question.
go ahead, Tiffany.
Are you able to go on State Clearinghouse and see the status of the NOE?
Well, it was
I-
submitted on the 22nd of February and 35 days have not gone by yet.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was like 30-something days.
The reason I'm asking is because we submitted the well 8 one first on Clearinghouse. And they don't have an update, anything in my side of it. So I don't know what changes they actually make in the portal to let us know that it's been cleared.
For well 8, Tiffany?
Yeah, we submitted that one, I think, on the 5th,
Yes.
and there's been no changes to the status in the portal.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering how Carlos would know that the NOE for the pipeline has cleared if they're not changing the status.
Right, right.
Did you follow up on both of those, Steve?
You
Yeah.
can send them an email and ask them as well.
We'll do that.
Okay, so
So
we're gonna-
hopefully we'll know so you'll have an answer for us by Thursday when we have our state update meeting. Or that's what we'll expect it to be.
So Dee, you're gonna send an email out
Yep.
hopefully before next Thursday, and we'll hopefully know the status on that,
On both
Yes.
of them.
on both of those.
Yes, and Tiffany, do you have the email address? I can get it off the web if I need to, but do you have it handy?
You know, I don't have a direct email now.
Do you have that, Carlos?
No, I don't have it on me. You have to get it off the website.
Okay, I'll get it.
Okay, is there anything else before I move on to 16? And I believe, Carlos, if there's nothing else that you, were done in the evening. And we will
Alrighty,
see
you guys
on-
have yourself a good night.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, bye-bye. Okay, moving on to 16, discussion about update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency Allocation of Special Districts Grant 16A. Purchase of the generators, we're basically in the same spot with that because we don't have the load bank still,
Yeah,
correct?
well, yeah, but I mean, the way that worded, we have the generators, all except for the smallest one is actually placed where they're gonna stay.
That's B.
Oh, okay. And so we could do B.
Yeah, so let's, there's nothing new on 16A, correct?
No.
And 16B, so go ahead, Johnny.
So, we managed to save a ton of money. We got all the generators at their sites. And basically one day is the first day they gave us credit for it because they delivered a dog of a reach all. So anyway, they made that right. So we saved a bunch of money. No matter what I did, because of low hanging power lines, buildings in the way, whatever, the smallest one that should have been the easiest at Harrison couldn't get it where it needed to be. So it's inside the yard and we can make it work where it's at. But I'm still gonna try to tackle taking the fence down and trying to get the skid steer in there with the fork attachment, get it around the back of the tank and put pipes down and try to roll it on the pipes to where it needs to be. But for all practical purposes, no matter what, we got them all at their sites. They're mounted to really heavy railroad ties. They're sitting good. I had to make adjustments in where we wanted them, for a multitude of reasons. We thought about putting the one at Wolf back by the T-Mobile one out the back gate. There was no way to get around the tank with equipment, that was big enough to pick up the load. We barely got it up the road with holding a telephone wire up and putting it on the ground and dragging it. And so, well 5 also had to adjust where we wanted to put it there. It's still in a good spot. Me and Curtis originally were thinking about putting it in a different spot, but the only way to get it there would have been getting access from Saya to go on that side and take the fence down. And I didn't feel like this was the proper time to do it. So, so anyway, they're all in their sites. Now I have to work with P&J Electric for some of the ones that I want to hardwire, work with them to come out and run the conduit and run the leads. We'll excavate for them. And the ones that I'm just gonna run leads, temporary leads to, I'll get P&J to make those up too. They're not gonna be cheap because it's real thick copper, insulated copper lines, but us doing it like that way is cheaper.
Right, and so but they're not on our insurance yet.
Not yet, because until we actually could say what site they were at, that's how they got our insurance all broken up as well. So, but I got all that information right here too. So also, ideally, we would have the load banks here and we would have, because the load banks are really gonna become a part of the generator. Doing them in 2 separate modes seems kind of silly.
Yeah, but I think we need to have it on there because they're sitting up there and
That's why I just told you, I just talked to the guy yesterday. I just got the documentation ready. As soon as I get because nothing was listed by site where the generators go, it's only by serial number. So I gotta go check them again and mark them what they are, and then I'll send it.
And that also needs to be in our bookkeeping records because now we have everything, our assets broken down by site as well. So we need those serial
Typically,
numbers.
that happens when, we are assigning the cost, right?
Yes, but we didn't know what was going where, so that needs
That's
to,
what I was saying, yeah.
my biggest concern is just like, because not all of them are they all behind, none of them are behind fences?
They're all behind fences.
They're all behind fences?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just concerned about, any kind of vandalism or something,
Well, that's another further cost down the road. The doors could be broken into. T-Mobile, they use the special locks that have the protection all around it with the lock that fits right in there. That's how all their doors are figured. Those things are pricey when you're buying 5 for each generator. So that's gonna have to take a while till we get the money, but yeah, they're all behind fences.
Okay. I just want to make sure we get all the insurance.
As a side
just in
note,
case.
I gotta call the fence company and have them upgrade. I got a quote on all the upgrades we need, but there was too much. So now they're gonna have to upgrade the fence at Harrison. The fence is too low on 3 sides and it's gotta have razor wire around it now to protect the generators. So I gotta have that done.
and the fence that you were gonna take down and.
Yeah, when I take it down, I'm gonna try to stretch it back myself, but I'm no fence guy, so if that's the necessary evil, I'll wire it up there good enough to prevent stuff, and I'll have the fence company wait till I say, put it back, and then they'll come out and do the upgrade and stretch the fence back out.
Any other questions? So yeah, so we just want you to have the serial numbers and We need to sit
Yeah.
with the financial.
I think just the most important thing is getting it on our insurance.
Insurance, yes.
Because if something happens in this period of time, I don't, that's my only concern.
As I knew it would be, but we couldn't do it when he was sitting in the gym.
I get it.
We didn't know where they were going.
I get it, I understand.
So in other words, get it done as fast as I can.
All right,
In like.
thank
what-
you.
Been what, 2 working since I got.
No, you're doing a great job.
And then the load banks will have separate serial numbers, so you'll be.
Yeah, they'll also be mounted, first of all, nobody's gonna even know what to do with them, but they're gonna be physically mounted to the generators, so they're gonna become. I mean, I have no idea if there's gonna be a serial number on them or not, but I know they're gonna be
They
mounted.
become part of that asset.
Yeah,
Any other questions on 16? Okay, item 17, discussion about update on,
That's
we tabled that item. Item 18, continue discussion vote on the district's record retention policy.
are we done with the D?
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, we're done, D. Thank you.
All right, do we
Okay,
need
well-
him for the mainland extension? No. That's
No,
not, we
that's
don't
not-
have that yet.
Yeah, that's gonna be tonight, yeah.
Do we need him for that?
No, we don't need him, but
Oh.
it is tonight.
Okay.
Good night, Dee. Have a great weekend.
Good night. Thank you and you folks as well.
Thank you. I believe we left off on, I didn't bring my, I don't have my, this isn't even mine, I don't know how it ended up in the book, but this is.
Because we all left,
No, but mine is not, this is not me, this is not my writing, but it is correct. I'm not sure where this came from, so, and I left, I think mine at home. But I think the last thing we did was destruction of obsolete records was where we had made an
Yes.
amendment. And I don't think we had, finished with. I think we had finished on page 4 of 18.
yeah.
And then I think, on my stuff, 2.4 was the same as 2.3, we just didn't. We didn't add that wording, but it was the same thing that the manager. The same thing being brought to the ad hoc and the board for final approval, but if it's damaged, it's damaged, so everything else makes sense, but just. Before destruction of such a record, it would be the same thing, I think, as 2.3. And is everyone in agreement with that?
Oh,
Yes?
yeah, I'm in agreement with it.
I didn't see anything different on 2.5, the destruction, as long as there's a duplicate, that anything. As long as there's always a copy of something that other duplicates can be, destroyed. Temporary working files. I mean, the only thing with some of the drafts is if they were drafts from the. Well, I don't know, as long as we have a final, then I don't think we need the
No.
drafts.
I don't think so either. Because once you have a final, that's all.
But if we don't have a final, then those drafts should be held. I think it should say something that they should, But it just says, should be kept only as long as they're useful, so
Yeah,
they're useful if there's no final.
right, because you're not gonna get rid of them if there's not a final anyways.
Because what happens sometimes, like my whole thing with, I won't mention the name, but the construction, not construction easement, what's it called? Not a construction, conservation easement that we never did, that we still someday need to do up on the mountain here, that was in draft form, and who knows where it is, it's somewhere in here, but that we definitely don't want to destroy in case that ever comes back up. so far it hasn't for some years now, but. So stuff like that, Tiffany, if there's, I don't know. If we wanna add any wording for that, but it's just,
I don't think we need to add wording, because didn't we decide that when I do fill out the authorization form, that it's run by the board?
but it doesn't say that on temporary working files.
But you would be determining what was a temporary working file as a board. So if it was
No,
something-
it
so
says-
if it, I'm telling you that that's what because I said I would submit that stuff to you guys.
Right, but it doesn't say it in the minutes.
Well, it wouldn't be a temporary if it's the only copy we got. If a draft is the only copy we got, we
So
don't
you
get
could
the
just-
final, then that means,
We could add that wording, so, it could just say. If it's the only thing that we have, that will be retained. Or something, I don't know how.
if there's not a final copy of the draft form, the draft form shall be retained.
Retained. That's fine. Are you guys all good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
It's pretty easy.
yeah, so media storage systems. Which we're doing, we're maintaining them in Media Cloud, get back. So my only issue is originals of records stored in this fashion that are not expressly required by law to be filed or preserved may be destroyed. I think that needs to be, because if it's the only, again, if that's the only record we have and it's in the cloud and we don't have it anyplace else, although we should, according to the other one, there should always be a copy.
Well, it's just saying if it's not, in other words, according to our policy, whatever the policy things that we decide on that are to be kept, they can be destroyed. In other words, if you look over on this page and you say, cost accounting records,
Right,
3
so-
years, then
Right.
anything over 3 years, we can get rid
But
of.
it doesn't say that.
And
So
to
it
be,
says-
and to be honest with you, you could just add that we do not delete.
Right, I don't know why we would need to delete that.
Well, I mean, sometimes,
Well,
I mean, if,
But if we do want.
sometimes if things are, 40 years old and you're a private business,
you
that,
don't,
that would apply because, I don't need all these files. It costs me so much to have all these servers. Well, we don't have to worry about that. We just buy more cloud storage, so.
So I don't even know if we need that line, originals of records stored in this fashion, they're not expressly required by law. We don't need it expressly required by law, it's expressly, that are not designated in our.
Okay, so just line that up.
I would just line it out.
Okay, fine.
Everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
litigation related records, notwithstanding any other provision of this policy, no district record should be destroyed under this policy if it is relevant to pending or anticipated litigation. That's pretty clear. I don't think it says anything that needs to be changed. Right?
Right.
2.9, records without under the Public Records Act.
It's very clear to me that thing, basically, if there's been any, public information request, we have to, even if it's something that the schedule says we can get rid of, we can't get rid of it until 2 years after.
Right. And the schedule's not necessarily gonna say, so it's gonna go on the policy, so.
And I actually think it does. I think I remember seeing it say, litigation kept for 1,000 years or something.
It's something long. Yeah. Okay, so everybody's good with that page, 618, how, do we wanna just go through this page and then stop at the actual items?
Yeah,
I have a bunch of stuff marked on the items at home.
that's fine.
Okay, 3.1, records open to inspection is required by California Public Non-Exempt District records are available for inspection, that has to be, no changes on that. Okay, 3.2, request for inspection, I think that there's no changes on that either. That's by law, right?
Yeah.
3.3, response to requests. And I think that's by law as well, that
And
you're
also-
supposed to,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I thought you're on 3.3.
yeah, 3.3,
Yeah, 3.3, we always do that
yeah.
typically anyway.
3.4, district should not disclose records that fall. Like our, closed session stuff. We have to
Right,
redact
Social
stuff,
Security,
that's all.
Payroll stuff, we know
Right.
all that stuff, we can't.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
anything needs to be changed there. And 3.5, charges for reproduction of records. Yes, we have fees and a fee schedule for copying. Right? When do we update that? Or how do we update that?
I think it might be on our public record request form. It might have that amount on there.
Because it's not, I know that there is like a thing set by law, but we can also charge what it actually physically costs us, I think.
No,
No?
no, you're limited to how much you can charge per copy. But I forgot if it was 15 cents or 25 cents per copy.
And does it change based on the law, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess it's based on. But
Is it
most
saying
of the
the fee
time,
schedule, do we have a fee
you
schedule?
just digitize it and send it to them.
Right, then do we
It's
want
very-
these words in the fee schedule? Because do we have a fee schedule?
Legally, we know what it is. If you Google it real quick, it's something like the cost of the copy and like 25 cents a copy or something.
Yeah, it's usually like 20.
Right, but okay, what it's saying is request for copies of physical records for which fees are not otherwise set by law. So that's the law.
Okay.
And that says, if it's not set by law, they're subject to the fees provided for in the fee schedule. What is the fee schedule? Should we strike that out because we don't have one?
I don't think so, because I think, it's, we always go by law. I mean, you can strike it out if you want to, but we always.
But then we need to have a fee schedule. Someone's gonna say, what's your fee schedule? Oh.
Right.
Well, delete that, just go by law.
There you go.
Yeah.
So requests for copies of physical records shall be set by law,
Right.
period, and not subject to fees provided.
So we're gonna move on for this until next time, because I have a question if we could back up to my manager's report for a second.
Yes. Are we okay with that? Are we good?
Yeah, we're all good.
Write your
We're all-
name on your record retention list. That way I won't mix them up. If you could. Write your name on your paper.
It's fine if I just take it out, put it in the back slot, or just leave it in.
No,
there,
Yeah,
right?
I normally keep them in there, but. if
That's
they're
what I
saying
did and it
things
went
are-
away. It changed.
Well, the stuff I've been trying to save, I just put it in the back
Yeah,
pocket,
yeah.
and then she doesn't throw any of
I
that.
don't
That's
touch
what
the back
that's
pocket.
what we did. We,
Oh,
That's
back
what we
pocket.
said, and then she says hers went away.
Yeah,
so-
but she's saying.
I have
there's
someone
one way
else's
to-
with somebody else's. Right?
To write your name
Not
in
mine,
there.
so I don't know.
It'll assure that.
Okay, well, I got it in mind and.
Okay, so we're backing up if the board's okay with that to the manager's report.
All right, it seems funny because normally we go years after, but it dawned on me when I was looking at the employee handbook that it was revised in 2023. I don't remember what month. It's been several months. I mean, we had decided instead of waiting, should I send this back to, I forget his name now, but the attorney to have it revised with any possible new laws from this year, from January.
Yeah,
Yeah, might as well.
Because I'm gonna try to get in the habit of every February or March, send the employee handbook to them, so it's always up to date. We don't have to change anything.
Right,
So that's good? Okay.
yeah.
I will be.
everybody's okay with that? All the directors?
Sounds good.
Okay. Moving on, so we are now on item
21.
21, because we got rid of item 20, so discussion vote on the mainline extension for Kiwanis Trail.
Okay, this is,
And there is like a little issue with this too, because we could not find where this was recorded in our bookkeeping. It was, we took money, but it didn't show up, and that was something that the budget,
okay,
that we
well,
found out on the,
for all practical purposes, that that's a side issue from the actually approving this, because I have the printout that they paid it.
They
so-
paid it.
So that's something we have to follow up on. But for
Yeah.
this, right now, this has been a nightmare for both me and, drawing down blank, Santana. His office, the poor office, I mean, we kept on sending for the bond, which I know it's because they're a sewer company, kept on throwing the word sewer in it, like
Right.
6 or 7 times.
Right.
Finally got it all right, so anyway, I see that he's met all the requirements, with the exception of, and I'm asking you to approve it with the note that these 2 things have to be done before I tell him. One is they submitted a check for 6% of the bond, so we got that. But up here at the top, it says a check for 5% of the bond as well, which is $1,500. Amount to cover administrative costs and engineer's fees for reviewing and approving of the plan, so, we didn't get that yet. We got an $1,800 check that we just deposited today. That's for line item, H in the Wilson. It seems weird that we're charging twice for basically the same thing,
I don't know why.
and that's why I missed it. So we have this one, and this is the one that they paid today. I think that might have been something we overlooked before. And the other thing is workers' compensation, proof of that. I know he has it, but they didn't include it, so I would get the workers' comp proof and then that extra line item, unless you guys want to change that.
It's 2 separate things. So the first 5% bond is to cover our administrative costs and the engineer's administrative costs for review of the plans.
Yeah,
2% administrative costs to the district, 3% to the engineer.
seems
Then the
steep for a
second
short
one is a check in the amount of 6% of the bond to cover inspection fees, which is not us, an inspection of as-built plans by our district engineer.
Which that really seems
So you're
to be a duplicate, because it would be, if it was a big one, a set of plans, that would require a lot, but $1,500 to have D look at it, which he did, added one little thing, so that was done. And now for the final inspection, I'm inspecting it, but it's such a short run, and Santana works for us all the time anyway. It seems funny that we have that in there.
But D is supposed to inspect the as-built.
Well, the as-built are gonna be in essence writing as-built on the one set of plans that we got. So even if you
So
want. that-
nobody looked at where they actually dug up and laid the pipe?
Nobody actually dug up anything yet. That's what they're waiting for us to approve the mainline extension.
But that's inspection fees. So basically it's saying there's 2 different things. One's completely administrative and the second is after they put it in the
I
ground.
totally understand all that, and, I'm just saying that I'll go back and get the $1,500 if you want me to go back and get it. What I'm saying is that in my opinion, that should have been one line item on there, so it's not so confusing. You should have said 11% for these things and have it all listed out as to what that 11% goes to.
I think the reason it's 2 separate things is if they never actually go through, like if he looks at the plans, approves them and everything, but yet they never actually finalize, because that can happen too. Like we look at everything, we say, yeah, we'll give you a will serve, but they never put the pipe in the ground.
Well, what I'm saying is, since really the plans are my insistence on how it was done, and then I'm gonna be watching them do it. So when they're done, I'm not gonna make them do some kind of official as-built plans. I will get a CD copy of it for the computer. I'll write as-built on it and file that copy over here, because it's one pipe and one hydrant. It runs about 100 feet. It's not anything complicated, so.
Well, yeah, that's on this one, but what if it's, you're saying in this main line, you're saying for just this particular.
He wants it
In
approved
this
for this particular.
In this particular one, it's such a simple, easy job that I don't know why we're charging so much for engineer to peruse it. I mean, it took Curtis literally 10 minutes to write in what I wanted him to change, because Jeff French did not draw it the way I wanted it. Cause I want a hydrant at the end of it on the side of the road and a valve so we can tie into it later on when we want to continue down the road on us. And the hydrants, we always want a new hydrant when they do mainline extension, so we have better fire protection.
So you're saying you want all this wording rolled into,
Well, I think that if you want to continue charging those fees, I believe that's how we should change the mainline extension policy. And Curtis updated the pricing for us. But we still need to get an actual mainline extension policy that's written better
than this.
than that one.
But the other thing is that we just need to cover whatever we're paying our engineer. So because that's not covered in the
Guarantee you,
88.
so that's $1,800, so $2,800, $3,300.
So how are we getting that?
No, I mean, that's what they would be paying if they provided those two things, and we probably paid $300 to have the so-called plans reviewed and added.
Okay, but administrative is also the paperwork that has to be happening at the front desk.
That's what the $9,000 will serve letter also covers. It don't matter, I don't wanna spend an hour. doing this, but I just feel like
that the will serve is kind of covering, it's covering
everything
normally for everyone else, so why should these guys have to do more? I mean,
Or do less?
No, well, here's the deal. This is the reality of it. I have them work for us on a pretty regular basis. Do bigger jobs.
They charge us.
Wait, bigger jobs than that is what I'm saying. And we fully trust them in their craftsmanship. But all of a sudden, since they're doing it for a private person, we're making them pay all this extra admin fees that it didn't cost us, is all I'm saying.
well, we trust them except that they completely messed up on Elm.
Not
Did
ever,
not give
not
us
ever,
as-bills.
not ever in my tenure as an employee of the water company. Because I go,
We paid.
I trust, but I also inspect and make sure it's done.
Okay, well, we never, okay, I'm just saying, the reason this is probably here is that back then, we did have a mess. and
Sure, that
it's
wasn't
never-
mainline extension policy at all. That was them doing work for the water district.
That was them.
That's what
doing
I'm saying.
An extension of mainline for us
for
and
us.
not for a private individual, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So when they did it for us, we didn't require 11% of the job to be given to us for admin fees, because that's what they bid it at. Anyway, I'm sure he's gonna balk another $1,500. So if you guys just wanna approve it.
Huh?
Why are you doing that?
Oh, does anyone else wanna look at
Well, I
this?
got one here.
We all got it.
If you guys could just approve it with the caveat, I have to get the $1,500. I'll get those and then I'll just tell them, go ahead. 'Cause these people it's been a long, drawn out deal, so.
So you want the 1,500? Okay.
I don't know, do we want this? So you're saying we shouldn't get the 1,500 because you're gonna do the inspection and you're just gonna sign off on it and there are no as-bills for this particular job,
Yeah.
Okay.
separate from our
Okay,
mainline
so,
policy.
so I make a motion that we approve the mainline extension for Kiwanis Trail, and, waive the, 6%,
No, 5%.
5%.
5% of the bond,
For
for
admin.
at this point, and that he just get the workman's comp. And then we can go forward and finish this.
Right, cause they paid the bottom one and not the top one, you're saying,
Yeah,
not the admin.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll put it in.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call. Directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg is an aye. That motion passes 5-0. For the mainline extension for Kiwanis Trail. On to item number 22. Discussion vote on the quote for audio video meeting equipment.
Well,
That one we held up.
Well, we've been holding off on it. I figure we've got three options that I can think of. One, pay the $10,000-12,000 that this company is offering. Personal recommendation, no. The second is to look back at, remember when we were looking with Zoom equipment? So that was just to get the equipment outright, to buy it. It was a lot less than 10, it was more like 2. Or we can leave our system as is for now, because like today we had a good day. We don't always have a good day, but today we had a good day. So I don't know if any of those, I've reached out to other companies, not a lot of people want to do it. Other companies are like, oh, but no, it's too small of a job, or.
And I also agree with Tiffany, maybe we should just table that for now. Or not even table it, let's remove it from the agenda until something happens where we need to add it again.
Okay.
Or we become flush with money and.
Because it's so much money to have that one company, which still doesn't give me any more
Mhm.
fuzzy feelings.
Yeah, and that's way too much money.
And the Zoom stuff, there was no real, backup on that. I mean, it also had
I mean,
some
you could
problems,
pay the monthly, or you could buy it outright,
you know.
Yeah, but then this,
so.
So can we just take it off there?
Yeah, let's just take it off.
Okay, so is there a motion to remove this
I
from the
make
agenda?
the motion that we remove, item 22 from the agenda. And
Until
we'll
further,
until there's a further, need for it, and then at that time we'll revisit it.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
that.
Okay, I think, doctor, I think Director Kelly beat you to it. I made him a doctor now. Anything else? Any further discussion? Roll call directors, Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
And Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Dr. Kelly.
Aye.
Okay, Director Shepherd's an aye. That, removal passes 5-0. On to review and approve meeting minutes for 2/6/24 AP standing, 2/8/24 regular meeting, 2/20/24 AP standing, and 2/22/24 regular state planning and project meeting.
Okay, I make a motion that we, approve accounts payable standing committee meeting minutes for Tuesday, February 6th, 2024.
And,
Huh?
and
And,
the next one, we're gonna do them all of it together.
and regular meeting minutes for Thursday, February 8th, 2024. Accounts payable and accounts payable standing committee meeting minutes for Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. And, the state planning and project meeting, minutes, regular minutes for Thursday, 2024. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
Do I hear a second to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Shepherd is an aye, so those, most combined motions pass 5-0.
Alright, okay, that's so much better.
Discussion vote on future agenda items. Do we have any discussion or vote on future agenda items?
No, but a reminder that 700 forms are due on April 2nd, so if you haven't given them to me, please do by April 2nd.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Shepherd is an aye. And we are, adjourned as of
Good night, ladies. and
whatever it is,
gentlemen.
I can't see the clock, 8:34?
8:39.
8:39.
Good night,
See
everyone.
you guys later.
Nope.
Bye, Merritt.
You have to sign something.
You stay.
I know.